Hello and welcome to a new episode in the C&C Tiberian Sun mod corner. This time we will look at Command Conquer the Second Tiberium War by Ever Valiant version 2.42, released in April 2020. The mod has been in the works for a number of years, with a new version ready to download every couple of months. Of all the mods for Tiberian Sun that I tried out in the past, I have to say that this one is easily one of my favorites. In fact, I think it's this one that got me to make the video series in the first place. Alright, there's a lot to unpack, so let's get started. The Second Tiberium War is less of a modification to the original game and more of a reimagining of the concept. It almost seems like a different Tiberian Sun that has been produced in a parallel universe by Westwood Studios. The main menu already offers a very polished look. All the usual items are present, and since I have already talked about the options and extras menu in the last episode, I will skip those here. In any case, the base functionality of the modern C&C client for the most part is identical for all modern Tiberian Sun mods. Not only does the good old Skirmish mode provide a lot of playable material, the game comes with a custom campaign, but more on that later. So, the main set of features of this mod revolve around the radically altered tech tree, with a good number of units removed and added. The earlier tiers of your build order look almost identical to the vanilla game: titans, attack buggies, the basic infantry roster, and so on. Pretty soon, however, the changes become apparent, and very much so. The core concept of building bases, defending them, attacking the enemy, as well as missions without bases and only limited supply, stay the same. But because of the many new units and overhauled building tree, you have to experiment more, just like playing the original game for the first time, an experience that I really enjoyed. Playing in Skirmish mode is a lot of fun. There are 41 maps from the original game, including many of my old favorites and some remastered versions. Also, 22 interesting new maps have been added to the list. Compared to Tiberium Resurrection, there are overall less available options in the start screen to pick from, but there are new interesting ones which are specific to this mod. You can choose whether or not the endgame commando or hero units can be built, as well as whether or not to permit superweapons and less powerful special weapons, which are a sort of Tiberium missile for Nord and the drop pod for GDI. If the enemy is getting on your nerves constantly attacking your harvesters, there's an option to make them indestructible. Because underground and stealth units can also be detected by a specific sensor array building, you can switch on or off the ability to build mobile sensor vehicles. Finally, you can enable or disable Tiberium lifeforms. On the right hand side, you can set the time of day, which influences the lighting of the map. There are 3 large tech levels that you can restrict the build order to. More on that in a minute. Then there are of course starting capital and number of units. The classic Skirmish works exactly as you would expect. At the end of the day, I'm not sure what the best way is to get to know the mod, that is Skirmish or the decently sized campaign. The latter one gives you new units and buildings to experiment with pretty much every mission. However, you can also set the tech tree to 1 or 2 in the beginning and start to familiarize yourself with the game here in Skirmish. Online multiplayer works pretty much the same way in all the modern clients, and since I've already covered the online options in the last video for Tiberium Resurrection, I would recommend you to have a look at that if you're interested. In any case, at the moment only the largest mods for Command Conquer have dedicated channels. Also, playing over LAN is accessible via the main menu. This is an overview of the GDI roster, which the author nicely put together. It is also available on the Mod2B website. Should you prefer to skip this part of the review in order not to spoil yourself before playing, just jump to this time index. In the following, I will omit some of the old returning units and buildings that we are already familiar with. Tech level 1 gives you access to the basic buildings, the infantry, the harvester, and 2 mechanized units, the classic Titan and the first new unit, the Badger, which is quite fast, can transport 2 people and is best used against infantry. The old building block setup of GDI's defensive system has been exchanged for a simpler approach. The Vulcan cannon on tech level 1 is now a single building, as is the RPG launcher at level 2, combining anti-vehicle and anti-air. On tech level 2, things are starting to get interesting. GDI gains the repair bot, which is a highly welcome addition on the battlefield, for defensive and offensive situations alike. The Hover MLRS has been improved greatly. Now it has the role of a powerful mid-range artillery unit. The Armadillo follows a more sneaky approach, for it can be used in surprise attacks since it can travel underground. In fact, it is the only unit in the game which can do so. No more engineers appearing in the middle of your base via underground APCs from now on. The Jump Jet Infantry, Orca Fighter, Carryall and MCV are also available on this level. Building-wise, there is also the new Signature Array, the stationary variant of the former mobile sensor vehicle. The old drop pod node is now directly fit onto the radar building. The third level offers much more powerful units. There are 2 tech buildings that grant access to the new tier. One being the armament facility that lets you produce the Orca Bomber, the good old Mammoth tank from Tiberian Dawn, and the GDI's commander unit, Vega, which is basically the old Ghost Stalker, but without the ability to heal in Tiberium. The Ion Research Center allows the construction of the Ion Reactor, which is a relatively inexpensive power generator, providing as much as 4.5 times the energy of a standard power plant. Also, the popular Disruptor tank can be built, making this powerful unit only available in the mid to late game. The Ghost bridges the standard Rifleman infantry and disc thrower in terms of anti-personnel and anti-vehicle unit, but it is a bit pricey. The final entry on the tech tree shows GDI's superweapon in the truest sense. The Ion Cannon now has massive aerial damage and easily destroys most buildings and units in one hit. However, like Nod's superweapon, it has a lengthy cooldown. While GDI features strong standard offensive capabilities, Nod is true to its theme of exotic next-generation weaponry, lasers and stealth technology, offering less direct and more specialized and situation-based tactics. Tech level 1 gives the familiar set of starting options. The laser turret is still there. The surface-to-air missile sight has been exchanged for the rail cannon, or pulse cannon as it's called in-game. The attack buggy has been substituted by the very similar Raider. The iconic Tick tank has been swapped for the faster and laser-equipped Raptor tank, which hovers above ground and water, giving small squads the ability for strong surprise attacks. The second level allows access to units that serve more of a support role. The Viper only looks like the old attack cycle. It is still a formidable recon unit, but its rocket launcher is now replaced by an energy beam that deactivates mechanical units for a short period of time. Nod's old underground APC is now only available as the on-ground version, carrying 5 passengers. Also, the mobile artillery returns on tech level 2. Construction of a radar facility offers a lot more options still. The Cyborg and the Harpy return, both in their usual anti-infantry role. Although a larger number of Harpies can easily inflict serious damage on a base with lackluster anti-air support. Both the advanced power plant and the obelisk can be built at this stage, bringing a big boost to every base's defenses. The new stealth mines are a particularly insidious addition to Nod's arsenal. Although they can only be built near a base, they are effective at slowing down and thinning out the opponent's attacking army. Lastly, the Tiberium facility or rocket silo provides the Tiberium eruption missile, providing an instantaneous hit by a Tiberium warhead and constantly damaging and expanding gas around the impact. The last tier unlocks yet more powerful units as well as Nod's full stealth capabilities. Building the Temple of Nod provides 2 incredibly useful units. First, the Terraflame tank, which is slow but effective against vehicle and buildings and devastating against infantry. The Tactician is a mid-range sniper unit, killing most soldiers in one hit. Also is equipped with C4 charges. The temple also unlocks Nod's superweapon, the nuclear warhead, which has a similarly dramatic effect as GDI's ion cannon blast. And at the top of the tech tree you can also build a laser fence if you want. I'm not sure why you would, because it eats up a lot of energy and the pylons are not that resistant to damage. The old stealth generator has been replaced by the stealth generator hub. Following its construction, you have to place the small emitter pylons throughout your base. This way you can easily hide even larger bases with somewhat irregular outline. Also, the hub enables the construction of the Banshee, the stealth tank, and the commando unit Shakura, who is also stealthed when not attacking. While not a commando unit in the usual sense, she packs enough firepower to engage smaller squads and effectively harass the enemy. At its core, the gameplay of the Second Tiberium War is that of Tiberian Sun, but the heavily modified building tree allows the player to develop new strategies, find good unit compositions and make all those starter errors all over again, just like in the original game. Great care has been taken in balancing the game while introducing new units, none of them game-breaking or useless and perfectly valid in a certain role. One of my favorite aspects of the mod is the reinvented identity of both factions. Although being similar to the vanilla game, certain aspects are lessened, like the underground and cyborg units, and others are emphasized, for example the ability to heal and repair. While GDI is presented as a well-balanced force with strong offensive and decent defensive capabilities, including medics and repair drones, Nord has no such support units and focuses on stealth-based play, hit-and-run tactics and hard-to-attack bases. In the standard vanilla Tiberian Sun skirmish, I always liked the fact that there are no superweapons. Now there are truly devastating endgame options. However, they are costly and have a relatively long cooldown. I often found myself disabling the superweapon option in the skirmish start screen in order to enjoy a little more relaxed gameplay without the impending doom of a major part of my base being reduced to ashes. Not only does the mod introduce a lot of new and remove some old building options, the game comes with an entirely new campaign spanning 12 missions, mostly alternating between GDI and Nord. On medium difficulty and the fast game speed option, I finished my playthrough in about 6.5 hours with a couple of retries, which is really not shabby for a free standalone mod. All missions can be started individually, however I would recommend anyone to play them in order since the new story is conveyed within. There are no FMV cutscenes, but the mission briefings, in-game messages and unit in-camera movement do a great job to sell the scenario. Nord was defeated after the First Tiberium War, naturally. Now is the year 2047. The world struggles with the massive omnipresent Tiberium contamination. GDI watches all over, but increasing civil unrest and uprisings destabilize a fragile and beaten world. Martial law is pronounced by the UN and reports of a mysterious terrorist cell called the Black Hand emerge as attacks accumulate. There is secrecy, there is treason and vengeance. The battle for the future of the planet has begun. This is the Second Tiberium War. At this point I will not go into detail in order not to spoil the campaign's story, but it is not very far away from the original, but very competent and fitting in any case. The difficulty I think is mostly fair, although with some spikes in either direction. There are some easier and shorter missions, while others may take a while and or put way more pressure on you than the previous one. Besides the standard base building and enemy crushing missions, there are also some timed missions and some without or only very limited support units. Also, there are 2 special operations missions, true to the old Tiberian Dawn mission packs and a bit more difficult than the ordinary campaign. In terms of graphical presentation, the new content fits almost seamlessly into the Tiberium universe. This does not only apply to the new units and buildings, since a good part of the reoccurring material has also received a makeover. Many units now look more refined, sharper and less cartoony, except the infantry units, which are small and sort of benefit from the fact that they stick out more. Some examples of the old made new is the Titan, which now looks more like the units in the old CGI cutscenes. Also, some of GDI's tanks now appear a bit more bulky and less fragile, like the Hover MLRS and the Disruptor. Same can be said about Nord Swiper or the Harpy. A thing that I have to mention is the truly excellent unit and building icons in the sidebar. Not knowing which of the units are new, you would not be able to see the difference. The author put great effort into designing each icon to look exactly like the original ones in terms of angle, size and background. Everything is easily and quickly recognizable. In general, the mod can be well described by a great attention to detail. Surely the mod has been in development since 2013, but only a few mod authors are that careful and meticulous, especially in the long run. The more you look, the more little things you will find, be it new animation work or just small alterations to buildings or the older multiplayer maps. One of these little details that show how much consideration and inspiration went into the design aspect is the unit icon of the GDI commando unit Vega, which is an homage to the cancelled Command & Conquer first-person shooter named Tiberium. The Second Tiberium War comes along with a ton of new content. In the audio department, not much has changed, however. While the new units have gained new sound effects, the electronic assistants' voices and original soundtrack of Tiberian Sun remain the same. Not a big complaint, but a few new pieces would certainly be a nice addition. Normally I would encourage everyone to check in periodically whether there is an update of some of the mods that might seem interesting. The author in this case more or less often posts detailed information about new updates and the current development status. On the corresponding ModDB website, which I have linked in the video description, the interested viewer can have a look at brand new unit designs, including unit stats and sprites and a whole development schedule. I have to say that a lot of the announced content looks quite intriguing, so I hope that this video will not be completely out of date as soon as the next version is released. The Second Tiberium War is a second or maybe a sister version to the original game, modifying a lot of content to make the player feel like starting Tiberian Sun for the first time again and leaving a good chunk of the well-proven original intact to preserve the core gameplay mechanics. The mod is very professionally put together and has been developed into that what almost looks like an official release from around the year 2000, minus the obligatory Command & Conquer FMV cutscenes. I can very much recommend the Second Tiberium War should you only be slightly interested in an old school RTS from that era. As a fan of the original, I think you owe it to yourself to give it a try. You may rest assured that you will have lots of fun playing the new campaign and trying out the new strategies made possible by the unit roster. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next episode. Until then.